Now that coronavirus has hit most of the countries quite significantly, there is talk about loneliness. The popular belief is that people who live alone felt more isolated in quarantine. I'd like to add another perspective on this. For those of us who are single and live alone by choice or mere coincidence, the isolation in quarantine didn't scare us that much. We weathered it just like we did with the personal kind of isolation we experience as single people living on our own. We are simply used to it. And we didn't feel more isolated with the quarantine in place. To the contrary, we felt less isolated. The loneliness is less palpable, simply because there is more people around us, practically everybody, who are also quarantined and forced to stay inside. There is now unusually more people than before who do empathize with us, who put themselves in our shoes and, reluctantly or not, stayed at home every night watching movies and binging on a series. It's true they might have been watching them with someone else, a partner, a flatmate, a family member, or a caretaker. But to be perfectly honest, aren't we all little loners when we binge watch a series we really like? We we are totally immersed in it. Don't want to talk to anyone, can't stand the phone ringing, or anything disturbing us. Isolated from the outside world and surviving for hours on junk food. Sound familiar? The way I see it, people who, for whatever reason, live alone felt more isolated when there was no quarantine and life was normal. And that was because they felt and saw a great number of other people out there who weren't in the same boat as them. People who had busy lives, have crowded homes, and constant indoor commotion. That was what made the whole living alone scenario truly unbearable. They walk into an empty house day in, day out. They look outside their window and turn on the TV only to see couples and families and get reminded of what they themselves don't have. Would you blame them if they got a little jealous too? They go online and see happy faces at parties, lovebirds enjoying each other, parents playing with their children, and then they take a look at their own lives. Being single, living alone, with most of their friends abroad, or they themselves live far from home as expats in another country or students in another city. It was tough not to get a little lonely, and it's tough when you do. But now that everyone had been inside and self isolated, there isn't much to envy. The quarantine as a great equalizer. One thing is for certain: when you share your loneliness with others, when you feel that loneliness is becoming a general trend, there is some comfort to it. And that is more true for those of us who live alone. To paraphrase Gore Vidal, it's not enough to feel lonely yourself. Your friends have to be alone too.